The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericahealth.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. Are you trying to master the game of life without success? There are secrets and strategies to living your best life. We'll share some of them with you on today's show. Take advantage of this series to become an expert at relationships. All relationships. It's time to live the life that you deserve to live. Now, here's your host, Sandra Reich.
Hi, this is Straight Talk with Sandra Reich, and this is a particularly exciting show for me. I invited previous attendees of my Empowered Women retreats here with me tonight to do this show because I thought instead of talking about what we do at the retreats, I thought it would be much more interesting to have previous attendees. And I have to say, in the moments just leading to the show, we have just had such a great time. Empowered Women Retreats is something that my partner, Mayte Gomez, who's here with me today. So you want to say hello, Mayte?
Hello. It's really a pleasure to be back with you, Sandra.
Yeah. The last time we did our show together, we were in Phoenix. With you guys, with our producer and our engineers, and that was pretty awesome. We started the company, I guess it's about 7 years ago now, and we're heading into our 10th retreat. And we started the company because we found there was really a need for women. There were some women issues that came up in our lives, in other women's lives, and we thought, well, let's see what happens if we put a retreat together and bring women together and let's see how it goes. And we really didn't know how it was going to go. And we also had the idea of, as a psychotherapist that I'm confined to my office, that maybe the idea of bringing it to a beautiful spa with holistic food, with water, hot and cold therapies, that maybe that would help people integrate. But the question was, what would happen with bringing women together? And what happened was so magical. We could hardly believe it. I know, Mayte, you were blown away by that first retreat.
Well, completely blown away because it was definitely a dream to really have people there. And so we would teach the knowledge, but also they would have time to integrate, take some time doing some body work, moving and everything like that. But it's the bond that I saw. It's exactly as you said. It was complete magic.
Yeah. And so I put out a feeler to previous Empowered Women. We've had really at this point, I guess, close to hundreds of women come through the retreats over the years. And I put out a feeler to see if anyone would like to come do the radio show. And I was deeply touched, and I mean deeply touched, that the response was really, really lovely. Almost everybody wanted to come or showed up here tonight to do the show with me and to talk about their experience with Empowered Women Retreats. So you're going to get to hear from each one of them tonight. And I think that these are women that when they walked into the room, someone said, I have to calm down because I got excited, the equivalent of a 5-year-old, because these are women who inspire me. They have come, they have opened their hearts, shared with other women and created a sisterhood, so much so that a few minutes before this show, all you could see were women hugging and sharing and updating with each other. So I'm going to turn to Rita. Rita is been to, I believe, all 10 retreats, she's telling me, and week 9, she's telling me. So that those people who keep coming back, we came up with a name for them. What do we call those people?
I believe we're known as lifers, Sandra.
Okay, Rita, I remember very well that I got a call from you, I think, the night before a retreat. Why did you call, and what was your thought? What did you think was going to happen? I'm very curious.
Well, at that point in my life, I'd seen you numerous times. I'd had the privilege of meeting Sandra at my business, and I thought, this is really interesting. And
what's your business, Rita?
I own a health food store.
Okay, you want to give the name of it?
Sure, Health Treat.
Okay, because I want to put out a little endorsement there. If you're in Montreal, this is the store you need to go to get all your organic food. And you know I'm all about mind and body.
Yes,
so,
you are.
Yeah, so I'd seen you at the store all the time buying my organic vegetables.
That's right. And I thought to myself, she's such a lovely lady, and
Thank you.
she's a real person. I see her in her day-to-day actions. She comes in, she's a lovely lady, very together, very polite, and I thought, there's something this lady has to offer that I'd like to see, and get to better know. And so I decided I'm going to try out this women's retreat because there felt like there was some power to doing this in a group.
Yeah.
I'd taken a few moments to myself over the years and done some personal work through therapy, but I thought, never done it as a group, so let's see what this gives.
So you called me up, and although we knew each other socially from the store, you signed up for a retreat, I think, like 2 days later. And I'm wondering, and it's a question I'm going to probably ask everybody. So you're driving up. I've never asked Ed this question before. You're driving up to Spa Eastman, and that's where we have it. And you're driving, and what are you thinking as you're driving? I've always wondered, what are you thinking in the car?
Well, the thoughts are varied and many. I sometimes think I have one of those really interesting, twisted brains, but it goes something like, oh my goodness, I'm going to spend a weekend with all these ladies. I wonder how that's going to go. Gee, I wonder who I'll meet. Wow, I wonder what we'll learn. Wait, maybe are they going to like me?
Yeah, that's a big
is
one.
this going to be okay? Wow. And then I think to myself, from having had all the experiences that I have, all mine, thank you so much, by the way, Mayte, Sandra, for all of those wonderful experiences, I get to delve into the safety of knowing that that weekend is created with such heart and such care and such design so that we can actually, I come to it feeling sometimes a little bit nervous about how I'm going to present, who I'm going to be in that moment, because I really do want to be my authentic self. But every now and again, it gets a little scary. So I get that defensive feeling of, I wonder what it'll be like. But then it works out to be magic, as you ladies said.
Yeah.
So
when you got to the first spa, so you check in, it's a spa.
And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's a nice spa.
place.
It's definitely a nice spa. It's relaxing. It's quiet.
Very much
No
so.
cell phones. It's like
No.
low key. And we meet up in a room, and the spa, that retreat that you were at, I don't remember the topic. Do you remember the first topic you came to? Was it codependency? Caretaking?
Yes.
Yes. Okay,
Yes.
thank God I have a good memory.
That's amazing.
Sometimes. That's a whole other story. So you get there, and we start sort of usually with a circle, and I think there were a bunch of women at that particular retreat. Because some retreats we have a bigger amount than others.
Yes.
It's never too crazy. We never overdo it. And I wonder what stood out for you so much that you decided to come back 9 more times, which I greatly appreciate. And I have to say a shout out to you, and again, your incredible team at Helltree, that you actually invited your entire staff to the next retreat.
I did.
Why?
I was so moved and I was so touched by the genuineness of every woman at that event wanting to learn, wanting to heal, wanting to grow. And for the first time in my life, I felt like, wow, I'm not alone in this. Other people want this same thing. No matter what we look like on the outside, no matter how we're performing in our careers, our lives, our relationships, there's a craving, or at least I had a craving, I should speak for myself, for something much deeper, for a really passionate connection with myself. I realized that at the time I didn't know. But these retreats allowed me, in that first retreat, I realized that it was what you say all the time, Sandra. What is it that you say again about being a diamond?
Yeah, that you're a diamond. You have to treat yourself like a diamond, not a zircon. Nothing against zircons.
Right.
Okay, but
Right.
we treat things that we value better than we treat things that we don't value. So when we treat ourselves like we're inexpensive, we end up on the bathroom floor. When we treat ourselves like something's very expensive, we feel that we're important and valuable. And I think that rang true for a lot of people. So that's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. There's a lot of women sitting around me. So you were, I want to come back to this, but before I go to someone else, I'm curious. And if no one has an answer, I have an answer, and I'm sure Mayte will too, of what Rita being there was like for you guys, because she's been at every retreat. So that means that everyone sitting with me right now has participate with Rita. Does anyone want to say what it was like hearing Rita and what she brought to the retreat? Is anyone comfortable with that? I'm getting some nods. Candida? Either one? Both? Okay, I've got Kim coming close to the mic. Hi, Kim.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm really
Thanks for
good.
being here tonight.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, Rita was there, and I think that the first retreat you came to was the time she brought the whole team from Health Tree, that great organic store in Montreal. I have to do that promotion because I love Health Tree.
For sure.
Okay. And I mean, what were you thinking on the way up?
Well, first of all, it was an amazing gift to receive. I remember I was thinking about this, about how I felt the first time, and I thought, all right, well, got good girlfriends going. We're going to go do this thing. It's going to be a great time with ladies. We're going to this beautiful spa. But I remember being in the car the first time and saying to myself, well, I feel like I'm an empowered woman. I'm
strong, woman.
I work really hard, and my career is a priority, and my family's a priority, and I do all kinds of things, and run a crazy schedule, and I'm going to go there, and they're going to reinforce that I'm a good girl and everything I'm doing, and all this craziness is really great, and that this void that I'm feeling, I needed to figure out why I had this void, and what I really learned that first time was that void was not the responsibility of my husband or anyone else to fill, that it was my responsibility. My happiness was my responsibility. And I thought, well, that's really it wasn't at all what I was expecting, because I thought that this crazy thing that I was doing about taking care of everyone else but myself was awesome, and that I was going to be sort of patted on the back for that. And what I realized was that, there was a shift in that moment.
You didn't get patted on the back.
No, not at all. No. But at the same time, I was in a place where I felt that other women were struggling with the same thing, that they were, all trying to take care of everything, and that they were feeling a void and trying to figure out who would fill that void. And really what I learned that first time was the tools to start figuring out how to, to adjust that. And then I remember thinking, well, the second time I pretty much got it figured out the first time. So the second time I'm just going to go sit back and it's going to be great. And I'm not really going to learn that much. The second time I'm like, again, and it was just a whole new door. I was in a different place. And so the door was different of what I was, opening up to. And each time I keep thinking, I've kind of found my way. I don't really have that much more. And each time I look at the subject and I'm like, yeah, it kind of applies to me. And I'm blown away every single time. And if I may,
Please.
Yeah, if I may. And I just want to say, that I feel really grateful for, the gift that I've been given to be able to go on these things. But, even more importantly, what I cannot believe, and this is something that I think, is really, really awesome, is realizing, the support that you have from the ladies. I think we grow up sometimes and ladies are not always so nice to ladies. And I don't know where that comes from. And I've met, Olga, and I remember we would just look across the room from each other and we'd be in tears, just like loving each other from across the room with the support. You start scared. And Rita often will just ease that. I've seen, her open up and just everybody's at ease all of a sudden. And it's just a place where you can just, let it all hang out, and the girls are there for you. They're on the same, maybe different journey, but same idea, same goals. And I always think I'm not going to learn anything. And every single time I leave like vibrating. My mind is blown every single time.
Well, you're such a great speaker. I wish people could see this, because like we're sitting around a mic and people are hugging and kissing and tears watering. These are incredibly successful, brilliant, beautiful women. And what has happened through the retreats is that you've learned from each other as well. Candida, I have a few minutes before the break. We'll start it and then we'll have to take a little break. I know that you talked to me tonight. I haven't seen you in about almost 3 years. You were at a retreat 3 years ago. You said you were very inspired by Rita in particular. What was the retreat like for you, and what did you mean by that?
Rita inspired me at this retreat because our approaches to life and to situations were complete opposites. And I was so impressed with her determination in her situation to make it work. and her whole process, her whole thinking, which, like I said, was opposite from mine, and really inspired me to think that way and use all the therapy and all of the exercises and all of the sessions that we had discussed, not only at the retreat, but prior with Sandra, and try to put them in her perspective and try to make it work that way. And her story touched me, her kindness. You heard her voice earlier. She's so calm and accepting and loving. And it was just one of those people you never forget in life.
It's so beautiful to hear you say that. I'm curious, one more question from you before we take a break is, we haven't seen you in 3 years. You came, look, oh my God, it's very touching for all of us here to see what's happening. There's hugs, there's kisses.
It's the level of bond that everybody has is you start scared and you end up with family members. That's basically what happens to a lot or most women there. It's just very beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's
fascinating to me that 3 years of your life have gone on. You came here tonight because I said I'm going to do a radio show, and within 5 minutes of coming here, you said you're going to join us at our next retreat. Why?
The sisterhood of the bonding of the girls when we're at these retreats are remarkable. Some of the girls that I met, I'm still in touch with today, although we haven't seen each other, we have stayed in touch. And some of the memories of how you feel when you leave after the weekend stays with you forever. You can maybe not be in touch, but the experiences, the thoughts, the people's stories, are reminders that although your situation may be bad, some others are worse sometimes. We're all there to support each other. And the bonding that takes place that weekend is unforgettable.
So well said. Thank you so much. This is Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. We'll be right back.
We're making it easier to listen to the Voice America Talk Radio Network live wherever you go on iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android. Download it from the Apple iTunes App Store, BlackBerry App World, or Android Market.
Join the therapist who is affectionately known as the Couple Whisperer, Sandra Reich, on her famous couple retreats and change your life forever. Sandra offers couple retreats in beautiful locations several times a year that can radically change your love life. Couples describe her retreats as life-changing. Regain that loving feeling, bring your intimacy to a new level, and rediscover excitement and joy. Find out more at helpforanxietydepression.com or call 514-796-4357. We all want love and safety. Now you can have it. Call 514-796-4357 or helpforanxietydepression.com.
Can grief be good for you? Absolutely. It gets your attention, helping you evaluate your choices and relationships. Your losses define who you are. Tune in each week for Good Grief with host Cheryl Jones. Our show features those who have made incredible transformations by grieving their losses. You'll learn how to find your courage and strength. You'll discover the important things in your life and how to let go of things that are less important. Good Grief airs live Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, 5 p.m. Eastern on Voice America Health and Wellness.
Find out what's happening on the Voice America Talk Radio Network by keeping up with us on Twitter. You can find us at Voice America TRN.
You are listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. To connect with the program today, please call 1-866-472-5792. Again, that's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@helpforanxietydepression.com. Now, back to Straight Talk. Here's Sandra Reich.
We're back with Straight Talk with Sandra Reich, and we're just talking on the break with all these women. And I want to, just say two things. There's a sense, like a little bit of a kumbaya sense. And the funny thing is that anyone who knows me, and the name of my show is Straight Talk with Sandra Reich, I'm not that kumbaya. Like, I'm actually very, like, when they were telling me, when Ken was talking about taking care of other people as being a badge of courage or a badge of honor, I definitely crashed that one because I teach women to take care of themselves first because women are socialized to caretake others, but they lose themselves in the process. That's how the company got started. That's why Mayte and I started the company. Yeah. So there's two things I want to get across is because I know a lot of people get worried about coming to retreats, and one is that it's going to be like feeling crystals and singing Kumbaya. Ladies, I can get a collective answer here. Are we singing Kumbaya and touching crystals?
No.
Okay, that's not the scene. Okay. The other thing is I was listening to the bond between the women here, and I wondered if I was listening to this, if I wouldn't feel like I could never come to a retreat like this because they clearly all love each other and it's so beautiful. And I want to explain it. I have Olga next to me about the fact that not all these women showed up at the same retreat. They just came tonight to support me, which is very kind of them. So, when you first came to the retreat, Cam, you were talking about Olga and you having this instant connection. You didn't actually know each other, had never laid eyes on each other. So how did you end up at my retreats, and why did you keep coming back, Olga? This is Olga.
Hi, Sandra.
You've heard Olga on Straight Talk before.
I ended up in your retreat the first time. I met you at another place where you were doing a talk with Mayte, and there was something about Sandra and Mayte that touched home for me that day. And I went up to Sandra and I said, Sandra, I need your help. I need you to see me. And she was very openly happy to say, of course, I'm going to help you. And we made an appointment. I went to see Sandra. I had a few sessions with Sandra. And then she started to talk about her retreat. And at first, I was like, a retreat with women. What am I going to do there? What am I going to learn? And little to say that I can't get enough of those retreats. This is my third retreat.
Wow.
And the first retreat is where I met Cam and Rita. And it was so genuine. And you heard them talk before. And they're real. It's not fake. They're there for you. You learn from those retreats, not only from Sandra's expertise with Mayte, but you also learn from everybody else's experience. And for me, learning is a big thing. You have to learn every day to keep growing and to keep learning about yourself. And without that, you stop growing. And life is short, and life is about helping other people. And these women in those retreats are there exactly for that.
If you haven't checked out the previous show with Olga where she tells her story on Straight Talk, please go to voiceamerica.com and check out the episode that we did together about her journey. I want to add something to the spirit of what happened. So first it was Rita bringing her entire team, and then Olga was sitting at a dinner table, and there was a young girl at the table. And the young girl was telling a story about how she had saved up her money. I think her mother had saved up her money. People are starting to get all choked up already. So that she could attend this retreat. She really wanted the retreat. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember right, Olga, you asked the young lady why her mother didn't come, and this young lady said, well, my mother saved the money for me, and so that I could come, and so there was not enough money. And this was the first night of the retreat. And can you tell us what happened next?
I went to Sandra. First of all, that little girl, well, it's not a little girl, she was actually a young lady. And I could certainly see the bond that she has between her mom, and she really wanted her mom there. A bond that pretty touched home for me, literally, that I didn't have the same bond with my mom. And it touched me in the sense that I wish I had that with my mom, that I could bring my mom to a retreat. And I said, I have to make that dream come true for that girl. So I went up to Sandra and I said, Sandra, do you think I'm out of place? If I ask you, I will pay for that mom to come and let's surprise the girl. And to make a long story short, she called up that girl next to her and she says, can you please call your mom and ask if she could come? And Olga will sponsor her mom to come. And after that night, that day, that girl was like literally in tears. The mom showed up the next morning because she couldn't come that same night. And like Sandra said, those retreats are magical. But that retreat was especially magical to see the mother and daughter bonding there. And for me, it was something really special that had happened that day.
A beautiful gift.
It was
a beautiful gift you gave someone that changed their lives, and they came back, and it brought them to new levels. It's just that certain something that's in the air.
Absolutely.
When women come together and when women are supporting women.
And it keeps going. I was here today when Rita was talking, and then Kem was talking, and we were all teary-eyed. And Rita came next to me and was just hugging me because she saw I was, like, we need those bonds. I mean, woman needs TLC, something that, it's not out there enough, I feel.
Well, because as women, we give a lot away. And we don't realize sometimes that we need also. I wonder what you would say to this, Olga, though. What if a stranger came? Like, how do you think they'd be received at these retreats? Because you were at one point that, in that retreat in particular, you were new. Candida, you were new at one point. Not everyone's a lifer. Not everyone's been to every retreat.
I wish I'd be a lifer. I wish I would have been like Rita and went to all 9 of them, because the amount that you learn is unbelievable. And the first time I went there, a bit like Rita, I was saying, what am I going to learn there? What am I going to do? I was a little bit nervous. And
is it hard to walk in, though, to a bunch of women you don't know?
Not at all, because the way you and Mayte set it up, you make us feel comfortable right away. And the way that you introduce us, the first day, right away, it's like so touching and so valuable the way you do it that you do feel very comfortable.
We do work very hard at the retreats. Like there's a lot of bonding and support, but we actually the learning is intense. Do you find the fact that, because we do, the fact that it's in a spa, so there's some intensity, but there's also some downtime, is that appealing to you? Because one of the things Mayte and I wanted to do is take it out of a therapist's office and to allow some integration with body and mind and the water. Is that something that you find helpful? I mean, you've experienced both. You're a client of the clinic, you just said so, and here you are at a spa. So what's the difference?
Well, at the spa, it's in a different mindset, especially with all the knowledge that you bring to us. I think it's very valuable that we are in a spa. So you could get that downtime with your new friends that you just made, and then we could talk about it. In an office, it's more formal. So there it's more like, hey, you put your jogging pants, you could go and do those activities that she was talking about before, and you could actually relate and then start talking with Cam or Rita, whoever you made your new flavor friend of the day, and then those friends stays there forever. I mean, we're still friends on Facebook today, and I haven't seen Cam in a while, and we stayed friends through Facebook, and we talked, and today when we saw each other, again, the same eye from the end of the room, and we just jumped in each other's arm because the chemistry is there. We have something in common, and Sandra and Mayte brings this what we need in each other alive.
Well, thank you, Olga. I mean, we really created it because we needed it too. I think that the journey of a woman, a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister is, again, a lot of giving, and our pockets start to get empty. And that's really why, I mean, most people here know I've got a lot going on, the radio show, the clinic, a lot of stuff. Why continue these retreats? I'm kind of busy. I got 2 small kids. They're probably one of, if not the most meaningful things that we do.
Absolutely.
Because it does just as much for us. And again, I really could not believe when reaching out on Facebook to see if anyone who's come to previous retreats would like to come and talk. And this was, 3 days ago? And here we are today. So I think it just shows that, yes, you're right, a real bond has been formed. So I've got behind me, hiding a little bit, Dahlia. Now, I'll start off with Dahlia because she's feeling a little shy. A little shy. Come close, Dahlia. Now, Dahlia came to the last retreat. She's been to 1, and I believe you're coming back with us in 3 weeks.
Yes, I'll be there.
And I think you were fairly reluctant to come at first and very unsure.
Very nervous, very scared, very intimidated by all of it.
So what got you to come? Was it my persuasive skills? Or
partly, yes. I had attended some of your other seminars.
You always did ask me about the retreats, though. You did?
I did. I was very intrigued.
Yeah.
And it sounded amazing. It sounded almost selfish, though, to spend that money on myself. I've got 3 young kids.
Well, the women are all putting thumbs up on that one. We all, as women, feel it's selfish to take time.
How could I go away for a weekend just for me? That just didn't jive in my mind. I
leave the kids.
Yeah, leave the husband, leave everybody. How were they going to survive a weekend without me? Actually, I have to say, my husband did push me along, thought it was an amazing opportunity, and with a lot of convincing, self-convincing, I did embark on this journey. Always intrigued on what void I could fill, as the ladies had said. Learning more about ourselves and who we really are as women. We do really well taking care of everybody and taking care of the home and everybody around you. But when you have to look at yourself in the mirror, you don't really recognize yourself. So I went and was scared out of my mind, drove alone the whole way, lost and thinking and not sure where I was going, what I was going to do, who I was going to meet, what I would say. I was worried about being judged and were they going to be anybody I could relate to? And it was amazing. It was, again, right away you open up with a circle. We all sit, introduce ourselves. Everybody shared some of their stories.
If they wanted
to. At first, I felt like I didn't have a big story to tell, so I felt intimidated. But everybody was so supportive of just me looking to grow as a woman, and I didn't need to have a traumatic event in my life that had happened to me. It was just simply enough to be there, wanting to care for myself and grow as a woman and be the best that I could be to myself, not just as a mother and a wife, a daughter, a sister, a friend, but for myself.
Oh my God, I can't believe that you were feeling a little shy to talk.
A little.
You brought up such incredible points. I want to highlight 2 of them in particular. One that you brought up is, and I didn't think to say this, but it's so on the mark, is that as women, we will go buy a pair of shoes for ourselves.
Yeah.
We do that.
Yeah.
Or go out to eat. But to give ourselves a weekend about ourselves is so hard for us to justify.
It's something I still struggle with. Even I'm going at the end of the month, I'm very excited, but I can't say that it's guilt-free. It's easier this time for sure, but that first time was really a struggle within myself. To how could I do this? How could I leave everybody?
Which brings up the second point that I want to get to, is that I want to make it clear that the retreats are not male bashing.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if I learned one thing at that retreat, was assuming responsibility for your life. That he, be your husband, your father, whoever that man in your life is, or woman, or whatever your situation is not responsible for your happiness. And if you're waiting for them to make you happy or fulfilled and fill that void, you'll be waiting forever, because it will never come truly from within, and therefore will never happen.
Yeah, well, I think that is such an important point, and I so appreciate you bringing that up, because I think that what happens strangely is when the women come home from the retreats, the husbands and the boyfriends are actually quite happy, because the women are starting to learn to take care of themselves. So it's definitely not a male bashing thing. One more question before we go to the break is that you were the new girl last time. Yeah. So you can answer more than anyone else. How hard was it to be the new girl?
Well, on the way up, it was very intimidating, and to make that decision to go, I'd say within the first half an hour, everybody just kind of started, because you realize you're not the only one. You're not the only first one.
And there's comfort in that.
And there is comfort, and there are different people with different situations and different levels of anxiety, and everybody just kind of realizes that you're not the only one. And that's what the whole retreat is about, not being the only one. and that we're all looking and thriving to be better within ourselves. Ultimately, that's what we're there for, and everybody's there for the same reason, is searching for that fulfillment, inner fulfillment.
So you found your comforts.
Absolutely. And I met some amazing women, and it was a beautiful, and I just have to end with this quick story that when I came home, speaking of your husband being happy, for the first and only time so far, my kids literally, when I pulled up in a car, they were outside playing and they just stopped what they were doing, all three of them, the biggest to the smallest, and ran up to me and gave me the biggest hug. And it was a really weird feeling. Like, it wasn't just, mom wasn't there to do the laundry and the dinner. I was back as a different, not different person, but a more fulfilled, more peaceful person. And they could almost feel it as I pulled into the driveway. And it was a very amazing. My husband kept saying, how was it? And I just kept saying, amazing. Mm-hmm. There was no way I could explain to him. He would never understand. It's something that you just walk away with inside, an inner peace, an inner feeling that you can't explain.
So well said. So well said. We're going to take a break. This is Straight Talk with Sandra Reich.
Find out what's happening on the Voice America Talk Radio Network by keeping up with us on Twitter. You can find us at Voice America TRN.
Change your life forever with the latest cutting-edge products for home study treatment for anxiety, featuring the clinical director of the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression and host of Straight Talk, Sandra Reich. Sandra is joined by top therapist Georgia Dow in this revolutionary anxiety video therapy series. Thousands of people have benefited from this scientifically proven treatment approach. Isn't it time you choose yourself? Visit anxiety-videos.com right now. That's anxiety-videos.com and change your life forever.
Ladies, how about a luxurious weekend while learning to empower yourself? Join Straight Talk's Sandra Reich January 29th at a gorgeous spa in Quebec for 3 days and 2 nights of empowerment, growth, and decadence. Delicious food, powerful learning, and much more. Life 2.0 The Retreat. Master how to command respect in your relationships. Learn about yourself and what is blocking you from living your best life. Meet other like-minded women and join in on the retreat that sells out year after year. Isn't it time you chose you? Call us at 514-796-4357. That's 514-796-4357. Don't miss your chance to change your life and relationships forever.
We're making it easier to listen to the Voice America Talk Radio Network live wherever you go on iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android. Download it from the Apple iTunes App Store, BlackBerry App World, or Android Market.
You are listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. To connect with the program today, please call 1-866-472-5792. Again, that's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@helpforanxietydepression.com. Now, back to Straight Talk. Here's Sandra Reich.
We're back with Straight Talk with Sandra Reich, an episode I wish you could feel the energy in the room. I don't know if it's coming across through the radio. I'm sitting here with Mayte Gomez. You've heard her before on the show, the co-director of Empowered Women Workshops, and a woman who has a full-time job of her own. She's a psychotherapist. She's a masotherapist. Why start a company, for women? We've talked about that before. Are you hearing things tonight that remind you of, we're going on a retreat in 3 weeks. Like, I know I'm more motivated than ever for this retreat. Like, are you feeling these women are speaking to the vision that we had when we were sitting at Spa Eastman and you were pacing up and down?
Oh, yes. I do remember. So we went one time at Spa Eastman and we had this vision about empowered women. We decided that we would do day courses. And eventually we said, but what about a retreat? And the retreat came quite a lot faster than I thought, actually. Within the first year, we decided, okay, let's do a retreat. And we did it at Spa Eastman. And really the vision was to get a group of women together, but these women who really want to go the extra mile, that really are on the journey, that they really are committed to themselves and wanting to grow and wanting that grow to have an effect on their lives. And so that was the vision, that we would be there and that we would teach and that we would be at a spa so that they would have time and space to integrate.
And we were worried. We were worried about what Dahlia is talking about. We were worried that women would not spend, we had already done day workshops, that would not take the time for themselves.
Take the time, or, as you said, it's one thing to buy a pair of shoes or 10 or go out for dinner, but to spend that same amount of money on yourself, on a retreat to learn, there's a block there. But thank God not for everybody.
Why do you think there is a block, Mayte?
Well, there's this thing that if you take care of your exterior, that's probably a little bit conscious or not what is expected of you. Because, we know that a woman that looks good, is viewed very well. But how is a woman taking care of herself, taking time for herself, being away from work, being away from family, husband, kids? How is she viewed?
Now, I wonder if you were also taken by Dahlia. I was very taken by the kids seeing in her a different response. I also, my interpretation of that is also that her kids had to not take her for granted.
Oh, absolutely.
Mom's home. And even when we come back from our retreats, don't you find like our partners and our kids are also like, mom's back?
Oh, absolutely.
But there's a sense that mom, and one of the things we know in psychology is that if moms take time for themselves and mom is happy, it gives your kids permission to be happy.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is going to lead into what you're going to talk about, guilt, because we're coming up on that. Because you may, in fact, be giving your kid a gift.
Oh, absolutely. Because, there's what you say to your kids, and then there's what you do. And what are they going to do? What you say? Okay, little guy, little girl, do this, do that, or what you do? They're going to do what you do. So if you do not take care of yourself, what do you think your kids are going to do? They're not going to take care of themselves. They might be, really into themselves when they're kids, but what when your girl becomes a mother? What then?
What about the argument about the self-sacrificing mother? What would you say to the fact that, I want to be a great mother. I don't want to leave my kids for 3 days. Like, I'm okay. I'm standing on my feet. Yes, I could use my pockets filled, but I had kids. I can't be so selfish. Who said that they felt it was very selfish when they were going?
I did.
Dahlia did. So what about women listening there saying it's a selfish thing to leave your kids for 3 days to indulge yourself in a retreat for women? You're not on the brink of disaster. What do you say to that?
Well, basically is that, if you go in the future and you see, you have kids yourself and they come to you, you're older, and they say, Mom, I really need a break, but I have kids, I can't. Are you going to say that to your kid? Oh, of course you can't. You need to take care of your kids and things like that. Or would you want really right now for your child to go, if you need to take care of yourself, then take care of yourself. But it's unfair, in my book, to ask of your kids for them to know this if you're not willing to fight for it yourself. If
so to walk the walk.
Walk the walk. Walk the walk. I mean, every little bit that as a woman, as a parent, that you're able to conquer, that you got this. Okay, I need to take care of myself. Let me learn. I don't know how. Let me learn. Everything that you learn, your kids won't have to learn, because that's vitamins that will be in them instantly. So it's a beautiful gift. Go away, take care of yourself. It's probably one of the best gifts you can give to your kids, actually.
You're brilliant, because in psychology we know that, again, the child's permission to be happy is based on your permission to be happy.
Absolutely.
So the self-sacrificing mother is not really giving their child the permission to choose themselves. And this is a woman's issue much more than men. We don't see a lot of men not taking time for themselves. Ladies?
No.
Okay.
They might be somewhere, but I have not seen them. You need to show me where they are.
And I've had a bunch of clients in my office yesterday saying how resentful they are that the men take care of themselves. I say, let's learn from the men.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, that's a very good point.
So thank you, Mayte. You really represent empowered women and our vision so well, so thank you so much for that. I'm here with Lori. Lori, you attended a retreat. We haven't had you back because you were pregnant at the retreat and you have 2 amazingly gorgeous children. I've been following you on Facebook. You were talking to me on the break about a very interesting concept. You said that you're very good at self-care. You know that you need to do this kind of stuff, and that's why you came to the retreat, no problems. I think you heard me speak somewhere, and that's how we met. Yes. But you talked to me on the break about something that happened when you decided to come to the retreat. I can't wait to hear about that. Talk about it.
Yeah, so when I actually had my first child, I fell into the trap. I fell into that trap that all women fall into that you speak of in your book. Every single one of them I fell into. And my husband and I started to take each other for granted. And our relationship started to shift, and it became very different, and I was very resentful. And soon after, I started to put myself first and started to demand that I be first, that I have that time, that I have that space to be me. You know, I grew up as an only child, so it was huge, that day and night. So I came into this retreat, knowing that, yes, I deserve this. I deserve this time. Wonderful. But that guilt was still there because the people around me are like, what do you mean you're going to a retreat?
Yeah, so what was that?
What about your children? You're going to leave them and you're going to go?
And who's that coming from? Women, men, both?
Both. Yeah. I think that we're all socialized into thinking and behaving a certain way. And for the most part, I don't think that people are even aware of that, of what they implicate and what they want of others. And so I very quickly started to break down those barriers, but I do deal with it every single day.
So when you say you break down the barriers and you deal with it every day, you're saying that by choosing yourself, people question you.
Absolutely.
And when people question you, it's very hard, especially as a woman. If someone says to me, well, you're a working woman, who's with your kids right now? It's very easy to start to second guess. Yes. Am I doing this right? And mothers, it's a very easy target. You can't win as a mother because if you're a working mom, you're doing something wrong. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you're doing something wrong. So you're a very strong woman. You were a very big participant at that retreat. How did you deal with this? How did you stand up to those people? And how did you stop the guilt from taking over you and canceling, let's say, your retreat? How'd you do that?
I really just focus on what I get out of it and how I show up for my kids as a better mother, how I show up as a better wife for my husband, how I show up as when I put myself first, then I'm really giving to them from the overflow of the self-love that I have. So there's no greater love that I can give to them than that.
So well said. But did they understand that?
When I take the time, going to the retreat, being in that beautiful room, having that time to myself, and then coming back to my family, I'm just so much more present with them.
Okay. So when they would say it to you before the retreat, you dealt with them by saying, I'm doing this for me. And they accepted that. Mm-hmm. And when you came back and you were able to be more present for them, was there did they calm down? Did they back off?
My husband is very supportive when I do these things because he does see, he's aware of how I shift and change. As for the people around me, even when they are resisting the changes that I want to make, I'll invite them to come with me, the next time, and I'll empower them to, everybody got a copy of your book. So, yeah. I want to empower them to do these things for them. And then coming to the retreat and seeing, I came into it thinking, these are my people. So, and then coming there and seeing that there were people like my mother-in-law, who, aren't used to putting themselves first. And then, one lady extended her trip by a day. Yes. And took that time for herself. And her husband immediately volunteered to come and pick her up the next day.
Yes, I remember that.
So it's so amazing to see that. And when one of the things that I wanted to do coming into this to my first retreat was I wanted to show up as myself, as the authentic me.
And you did.
And I did. And I was able to because you guys created that safe space for me immediately.
Yeah. So it's interesting, this concept of the husbands and the partners, how they react to these retreats. It seems like from everyone here that you didn't come home to trouble. Okay? No. So, and I think that we've done that as women to ourselves a little bit to feel that the husbands will be very upset with us. Okay? But there have been cases of empowered women, and I can think of one in particular, whose husband, when she would get home, he would make her feel very guilty. What do any of you say about that? What's your thoughts on that? Because for me, that's very problematic. Okay? Because I travel, and I consider my marriage and my children my top priority, of course. But I do travel, and I also feel that on that top priority is also my happiness. And if I'm doing things that enrich, like Lori said so well, and all of you said so well, enrich me, I can be a better mother and a better wife and be more present. But in the moment, my kids don't see that in the moment. They see mommy leaving. Even tonight, my little girl was like, well, why do you have to go? Okay. Mm-hmm. We've all had that. So what is it? What do we do with that? What do we do with the fact that people are putting this kind of pressure? And there is sometimes this guilt that if you care about me, you would stay home. And Olga, I know that you and I talk about this, and I've talked about very openly that my husband's very good about taking care of himself. If there's a football game on, he's watching the football game. So clearly, if men are good at taking care of themselves, what do we do about the fact, anyone can answer this, it's open to anyone, about this guilt, society guilt, husband guilt, of taking some time on something that will enrich your life? Thoughts, ladies?
I think it's always a battle. I don't know, because we've been so socialized to believe that it's a problem. But I think the more you indulge yourself, the easier it gets, because you see another side, and that feeling of happiness or that feeling of enrichment fuels that. And so it's a battle, I think. I feel like it's always there. But if you can somehow, last, it's like a race, I guess, if you can hang in there through the marathon, the last part, they say, is the easiest. It's just getting through the beginnings and starting that exercise routine or any other difficult task. Once you're in it and you realize what you get out of it, it does get easier, but it's always hard, I think.
So I've got two ladies who want to speak. I've got Lori and Olga. I do want to say we are pioneer women. This is a new thing. Our mothers probably couldn't have considered going and doing these kinds of retreats. So what we're doing is affecting future generations. Lori and then Olga.
I just wanted to say one short thing, and I think it's that when you give yourself permission to do something, you automatically give others the permission to do the same.
Whoa. Well said. Olga, you agree, basically?
I agree. That's exactly what I was going to say, that once you start taking care of yourself and the other sees that you take care of yourself, it's easier to take care of other people. And I learned through you, Sandra, especially yesterday after our session, that I'm number one. We're all number one. We have to take care of ourselves first.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I did say my family and kids are a priority, but I don't know if I made it clear that I can only give to my family and my kids once I give to me.
Yes.
So even though they're a priority, I have to start with me. So thank you for highlighting that. Is there more that you wanted to say on that? Are you good? Okay, I want to say the book's been mentioned a few times, that the name of the book is Once Upon a Time, How Cinderella Grew Up and Became a Happy, Empowered Woman. And the book was written by Mayte and myself. It became an instant bestseller, we're very proud to say, because it was the journey of women and learning to not only take care of others, but take care of themselves. So if you want more information on that, it is on the Facebook, which is Straight Talk with Sandra Reich, or it's available on Amazon.com. I want to mention that the next retreat for empowered women, which many of these women will be at, they'd be happy to meet you there, is January 29th to the 31st. And there will be, again, another retreat coming up. We'll let you know the date soon. I want to mention that Olga, who spoke, runs a beautiful spa here in Montreal. Can you just tell us a little bit about your spa? Where is your spa?
My spa is in Kirkland, and it's on Brunswick and Saint Charles, and it's called Esthétique Spa Munari. And we offer service from massage, so you could relax, pedicure, manicure, laser. It's eventually it is a wellness spa.
How do they reach you? What's the number?
The number is 514-695-5040, or you could go on the website at Spa Munari, Munari.
And if you want more information about anything you heard here tonight, there's www.empoweredwomanworkshops.com, or you can give us a call at 514-796-4357. I'm Sandra Reich with the most amazing women possible around me with Straight Talk here. Keep your eyes on the stars. Everybody want to say goodbye?
We love you, Sandra.
Thank you. Okay, we'll see you at the retreat.
Thank you for listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reich. We hope you've enjoyed today's show, and we'll tune in again next Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. Now, go live your best life.
Thanks again for listening to the preceding program, brought to you on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericahealth.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the preceding program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.